To create a service contract for your client, go to the CRM section on the menu, click on Clients and select your client. On their client profile screen, go down to the Client Funding section and click the new link on the right-hand side. The Create New Contract screen has a number of mandatory fields, and these are shown with a star next to their name. Enter the NDIS plan start date and end dates from the client's NDIS plan. The start date and end date fields below will be updated to these same details. Enter the date that you start working with the client in the start date field. If you pick up a client partway through their plan, this date may differ from the NDIS plan start date. If you're providing plan management services for a client, leave the start date to match the NDIS plan start date. This way, if any service providers send through any invoices to you from before you were their plan manager, you'll still be able to process them for the client. Leave the end date set to match the NDIS plan end date, unless you'll finish working with the client before their plan ends. In the funding source field, select where the funds are coming from for the client services. This would normally be set to NDIS, unless you have a client that is funding their own services. In the funding management field, select who is managing the funds for the services you're providing. If you're a plan manager, select Registered Plan Management Provider. If you're providing only support coordination services to the client and claiming through PRODA, select NDIA. If the client is self-managing their funding, select Participant or Participant's Nominee. And if you have to send an invoice to the client's plan manager to claim for your support coordination work, select Registered Plan Management Provider also. The Total Contract Amount field is where you enter the total budget amount you're managing for the client. For plan managers, this will be the total of all the plan managed items on the NDIS plan. For support coordinators, this will be the budget for the support coordination services you'll be providing. If you're not sure what the total will be yet, you can enter $1 as a placeholder and update this later on. For support coordinators, enter the date you start working with the client in the referral date field. The next two date fields are automatically calculated based on the other date fields you've entered. The progress report date will be set to 8 weeks after the referral date, and the review submit date will usually be set to 3 months before the end date. These fields will update to their correct values when you click the Save button. You can also enter the date your client signed their service agreement in the Sign Date field. The Reference and Notes field are optional to use. If you have a unique numbering system for your service agreements, you could enter that number in the Reference field and also record any extra details as needed in the Notes field below. When you're happy with the details shown, click the Save button to create the service contract. You'll then be taken to the service contract screen with the details you've entered showing at the top. If you need to update any of those details, just click on the Edit button in the top left corner to make your changes, then click Save.